Hi, Claudia.
Hello, Carmen.
Welcome to ABO.
Thank you.
Welcome to Hong Kong. Well, welcome back to Hong Kong.
Thank you. Just arrived a couple of days ago.
Feeling the jet lag still?
Yeah, I didn't sleep for a while and just been really busy running around every day. Today's my day 3, but I feel like I've been here for like a week already because I've just been doing so much things. Yeah.
So, well, here where we are recording today is Isola Capital. I'm just saying because they're super nice for letting us recording here. So thank you. It's a multifamily office and it's called Isola and the lounge is Alosi. So it's like reversed letters.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. So Claudia, you're an artist.
Yes.
For the people who don't know you, you started in London. You started sharing your work on Instagram in 2016 when it was still like a quiet place, like not quiet, but much quieter than today.
Yes, it was also a very fun place, especially for creatives and small business owners at that time, because it's not as saturated, and I feel like people were more like authentic back then for sure. And also like 2016 actually was 8 years ago already.
Yeah. Yeah. My God.
It's crazy.
So since then, a lot of things happened in your career, and you've been running solo exhibitions, and you are working between London and Hong Kong.
Yeah,
so that's
just
why
moved to London currently again. So yeah.
Cool. And so we can say that your work, like your illustrations, can we say they're like cheeky illustrations? I think that's the word that describes.
I like cheeky. Yeah.
And actually, you tackle societal norms around sexuality, confidence, womanhood as well. That's also a topic like dear to you.
Yeah.
And you actually question people's perception of all of these topics. Like when we look at your illustrations, it does something like, it's not neutral. It's, I guess maybe some people wouldn't like it, but maybe it's because it's questioning things that they might not be comfortable with.
And also, I think maybe when people see body parts, in general, they'll be like, oh, it's something dirty, it's something like you shouldn't be doing, it's inappropriate, it's not, good for the children, it's not good for the society. So but I totally see where they're coming from. But I think that's why I'm sort of like doing this, just because I'm quite interested in knowing their perception and why do we have this kind of like negative association to our body parts as well. So
I think the fact that is the angle is quite playful, which helps. Not helps, but it's maybe for some people that might be a bit, I don't know, it's more accessible for them to enter this, at least to trigger the conversation, maybe.
Because humor always helps. Especially, let's say if you're having an argument with your partner, if someone is like being a bit humorous, it kind of calms calms everything down, right?
True. And like searching online, like googling you on just scrolling your website, your Instagram, also articles, I saw the word like soft porn. Is this a word that describe your work? Or do you use this word?
I think I work around the topic, the topic about sexualization quite often. And to me, I think soft porn is definitely sexualization, like as in like over-sexualized content and stuff.
Because if people don't know what soft porn is.
So soft porn basically, to me at least, is sexual content. So I'm sure everyone is like online right now. We all go to like social media, and when we browse, We just see a lot of soft porn imagery, and everything is really sexualized. And I think, especially like attractive young women too. Either they have lots of filters or whatever, but they are like very sexually suggestive. And a lot of them are actually really young, which is quite insane. Like some of them are like 18 or like 21, which is actually quite crazy.
Instagram was not like that in 2016.
it was a little bit, but it wasn't as like, I mean, because all the Kardashians were already out doing like the social Instagram stuff. But yeah, it is getting a lot like saturated right now. Especially we have like OnlyFans and then TikTok as well.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm actually not on it.
TikTok?
No, I have not had. I mean, I had an account, I got removed.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, it's
because
fine.
your content is like...
Yeah, I would just like, posting some of my like animations. Yeah, not myself, but like animations.
No, but that's crazy. Because
it is.
You can see some things on TikTok, like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram sort of censored me a little bit in the beginning. But anyway, soft porn basically is a little bit like pornography, but as long as you cover the body parts and everything is fine, which is weird. But when you see like pictures of like breastfeeding or something like that, it's totally not sexual or not suggestive sexually. And it would get censored just because there's one nipple there.
Yeah. And so back to your work. So you did some solo exhibition. As I was saying. Tell me about the first one and how was it? How did you feel? How it happened?
I think the first time, literally for everything, is always very magical, and you always remember the feeling of, doing something for the first time. So I was, over the moon. I was super happy. I was like, my work is going to be great. People love me. I was super happy.
Where was it?
It was in London.
Okay.
So it was all because of Instagram. At the time, I just started posting my university work because I studied graphic design in uni. So I was just doing a bit of like, Instagram stuff, and I just posted some of my illustration projects.
You had run other exhibitions before that, but not solo?
No, it was my first one was actually solo. I forgot her name already, but someone like the shop manager or something messaged me, like DM'd me basically, and then she was saying, I like your work or something, and then for some reason I don't know, because it was like a long time ago. So anyway, she was saying, do you want to do like a exhibition at our shop? The shop is in Brick Lane, London, and I was like, oh yeah, of course, I will be in London at the time. I will be in London. So let me know the details. I'm happy to like discuss more, like discuss further more or something like that. And I remember I sent a lot of my work to the shop, and I traveled like with like a big suitcase or something with all my like prints in it and some of my merchandise as well. So yeah, it was good.
Cool. And how did it go? Were you stressed?
I was really stressed, especially on the opening day. But honestly, when I look back on it, it wasn't like a big solo exhibition. Obviously, it was just like it was more like a boutique in Brick Lane.
But still, it's like
and I did a bit of a window decal, like as in like hand painting on the windows. But this is how I got my very first commission projects as well, because of that exhibition.
Oh, cool.
So it was good.
Yeah, I was about to ask that about like also about commercial projects, because you do you work for some commercial projects as well. And well, I don't know if you can answer that, but I'm curious to know like the percentage of like your income that is commercial based and
or selling paintings.
Yes, basically,
commercial more than more than like selling my own paintings. Well, if you're watching, every little helps.
You can also look on her website. What's the website?
ClaudiaChanhoi.com.
Yeah, well, I'm interested in that question because I know some artists, and also I've always been interested in art, and I think it's a difficult industry. Like, for if you do business, if you're an artist, it's difficult. There's a lot of, especially maybe in Europe, because it's a very closed like network.
It is, yeah.
So it's difficult to enter, and once you're in it, it's still difficult to navigate. And from what I saw and heard, you'll tell me if you agree with that. When you're an artist and you do like some commercial projects, it's not seen as, it's something that is frowned upon. It's not like, they're, oh no, you need to be a pure artist. But this is also a business, and I mean...
It is actually a business. I think people tend to fantasize the art world a lot when you're not in it. But when you're in it, all the fantasy is false. It's unrealistic. But I mean... It's not fancy.
But why commercial projects couldn't be part of the success? I mean... For I guess for you it is part of the success, but I mean for the industry, why do people feel like that, and how do you feel about this?
I see where they're coming from, because I feel like if you're in if you really want to be like a fine artist, as in you want to be represented by like very, very major like auction houses or like major like galleries and stuff, normally the artists don't really do what I'm doing. But at the same time, I think a lot of great artists, like lots of successful ones, they are not just an artist, they're also a very smart businessman. They are like a really great PR as well. And actually I read a book called How to Be a Successful Artist. It's very straightforward. Literally, it's called How to Be a Successful Artist. It's actually a pretty handy book if you want to know about it. Like, definitely go get a book. Because the book basically just says if you want to be a successful artist, creating good work is not enough. And sometimes good can be very subjective, which I actually agree, especially if you're an artist. Like,
that's what it is about.
There's no qualification or like a certificate telling you that, hey, this is you can be an artist now, and you're now a professional. You reach to like a professional level. There's no guidelines. There's no you can't even navigate it, right? And so what you really have to do is, according to the book, you need to go social a lot. You need to know the right people. It's all about connection. And this is why a lot of people would find it really difficult to navigate in the art world, because they don't have the right connection. And it is hard to know or to speak to the right people as well. Like, let's say if you want to be represented by a certain gallery, and you have to make sure that gallery can get you to another better gallery, and then this is how you're gonna go to the next level. But when you do that, you have to be very strategic. You have to the easiest way is to speak to an artist who is a little bit more successful than you, and then he or she could recommend you to the gallery owner. And I'm reading the book, I'd be like, it's very straightforward, it's very quite easy to understand, but at the same time you'd be like,
easier said than done.
Exactly. And you're I'm not really a very social person as well, and I tend to be a bit anxious as well when it comes to
I get it.
So I can't imagine. I know if you really want it, obviously you would do it, but I feel like maybe I don't have enough drive to kind of hey, introduce me to that who and who.
But this can be, in a way, this is a kind of a paradox, because many artists there are different types of artists and they're all different, but many of them can be introverts or or they prefer like to paint for hours instead of talking to people, drinking cocktails.
Of course,
but you have to do this also to be connected. And
if you want to make it full time, you probably really have to, because I really do agree, like creating good work is simply not enough, because there are so many artists that I've met or seen in real life. They do amazing work, but they don't get enough recognition. That's why people would think, oh, being an artist, that means you might end up sleeping in the street or something. A lot of starving artists,
true. And some also, I guess, to kind of know how to run this in your business is also, in a way, having like artists that, if we go back to commercial projects, it's also a way to maybe spread more like what their work, and for people who may not be experts in art, it's more accessible for them and can trigger, I don't know, vocation, or I don't know, maybe they'll be inspired by very famous artists that are everywhere, and I don't know, I think it's just good to open the world of art. I'm saying that also because I'm from Paris, and when I came here in Hong Kong, the comparison, I was like, wow, there's no museum here. I mean, they are,
but maybe not compared to some major cities.
In Paris, like in every street of Paris, you have a museum. So it's really open in that way. I think it's good to just be surrounded with art. The more you see art, the more likely you'd be to maybe start something if you have this in you.
Yeah, and I think depends on what kind of artist you want to be, right? Because I definitely don't see myself as like a traditional artist, and I don't, obviously I'm not even like I'm not that, I don't see myself I don't see myself exhibiting my work probably at one of the major galleries or whatever. My goal, I mean, it would be great. It would be like, I would be like running for the hill if I could
if someone
make it.
Listens if I
could. But I realistically, like, obviously you have to, you have to be a little bit more realistic. You know that it's not going to happen based on the work that I do. So I definitely don't have any problems with doing like commercial projects and stuff. But at the same time, I think the work that I do for, let's say, companies or brands, most of the time
you have common values on.
Yeah, I feel like the work probably are quite aligned, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. Well, art is not neutral, so I guess those companies, they have somehow share some values or agree with the vision you're
or at least the collaboration sort of makes sense.
Yeah. And so recently I saw, I don't know, on your Instagram or somewhere, it's like I'm spying on you. But you were on the front page of The Guardian in the UK.
Yeah.
Well, congrats.
Thank you.
And how did you feel when you saw that? Like, I guess you knew before it
well, they
came out?
said it would be the cover page, but I didn't know that it would be on the front page, because I thought cover page as in the cover page of that section, but not the front page, Yeah.
But still, I mean.
Yeah. So
how, like, did you feel that you've reached a certain stage, like, oh, cool, like,
checked? Oh no, never.
Or did you feel like, you're super happy for a moment, and then you move on to the next thing because you have a lot of things to do? Like, did you take some time to, like, express gratitude to it yourself? Even that sounds weird, but
no, I think it's definitely a very healthy habit to do that.
We don't all do enough.
Yeah, because I feel like we tend to be like, oh, like, what's next? Come on, give me the next best thing, the next one. We're always on to the next thing, right? That's a very good question. I definitely had a very happy, exciting moments for sure. I was like, oh my god, I was on the front page. I didn't know that. But at the same time, I wasn't really like, I was definitely very happy and very like, because I didn't expect it would be on the front page. But at the same time,
can you say like you were, it may sound weird to say that, but proud of yourself? I think it's good to cultivate that, even if it's not natural, and like we are told not to be too proud and be humble and stuff, especially maybe as women.
What is the word? We are quite like imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe we normally don't really allow ourselves to have a bit of, like, a tap on our shoulder and be like, yeah, you're doing great. I'm proud of you. Because maybe I'm also a little bit like, okay, this is good, enjoy for a bit, but like when things get a bit quiet, and I tend to be a bit like panicky as well. Like I'll be like, oh, what's next? There's nothing I can look forward to, like I hate this feeling and I hate that I'm doing this to myself. But if you are like a freelancer, or if you especially if you're a creative, if you run your own business, you it's so hard to allow yourself to be satisfied, because I feel because it's scary. It's also scary to feel satisfied as well, because you might think that you're getting too comfortable, and you're worried that you won't be better, you won't have the next best thing, because the best thing just happened, and that's a very scary thought. It's sort of like and then you're spinning.
And if you're not, like, if you're too anxious, then you're not giving the best of yourself. So it's like a vicious circle.
And you go, oh, no improvement, no achievement anymore. This is it. You're it's the peak. And everything would be like going downhill.
I relate so much to what you say. I tend to always look for the next thing. And I want things to move quickly and
get bigger as well, right?
But actually takes time, and it's better that way.
It is.
I think you build things more stable things, and
more steady.
If you take time, because otherwise it's just like viral for a day, and then the day after you're just no one.
Exactly. This is like the whole world is right now, right? Everyone wants to be famous for like 1 minute or like 30 seconds, produce a viral reel, and then you just have to like keep on feeding the content to people. But it's so not great for your mental health, and also in the end you're just gonna
burn out.
You're gonna totally.
I've been there, so I know. Now I recognize the early signs, and I'm like, okay, Carmen, just slow down.
And also always remind yourself why you're doing this. Like, why you're doing this. You're not doing it for 1,000 likes. You're not doing for like people sharing your video or whatever. Actually
good to keep that in mind. And what feeds your inspiration? Because it can be, I guess, of course, your own life, your own personal life, your own evolution as a woman. Also, can we say you're getting married soon?
Hi, yes.
She's not single anymore.
Not on the markets anymore. But you can still send me flowers.
So I guess your personal life, but also maybe other artists, or are they also, I don't know, books, podcasts, or conversations also? I know that conversations with friends or people I meet is really, to me, like, it feeds my thoughts a lot.
It does, and good for your, because sometimes having a bit of social is good for your mental health. So I feel like when you're in a happy place, you can be more creative. You have more room for your thoughts.
Totally.
I think I'm always, I never give a really good answer to the question of where do you get inspiration from, because I don't know, like, I don't know what I mean, literally everything. As you said, like conversations with friends or with anyone, it's always a good thing. And
do you have notes, like, because
I do,
I have notes everywhere from conversations, podcasts, and I have like notes and notes and notes on my phone, and or even at night, like I need to write something, like I'm really this type of person, like my brain never stops thinking,
especially in evening.
yeah
I'm night owl, but not anymore. So yeah, I have like a sketchbook, so I sketch, and I also like write some like notes or something.
Are there artists that inspired you?
A lot, yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely a lot. I have lots of artists that I really admire as well.
I guess in London also, it's really, what's the art industry in London? What's it like?
I don't know yet. I feel like I'm still very new to it.
Yeah,
and
it's so big also.
It's big, it's competitive. It's very different to Hong Kong as well.
How so?
I think Hong Kong feels a bit smaller.
Yes.
Because when you go to events and stuff, you feel like you always run into the same people. It can be a good thing though.
Yeah, it can be easier to...
easier to make content.
Yeah.
And or like to find someone to speak to at least, because you wouldn't be like awkwardly standing and be like, no one wants to talk to me.
It's I saw a reel last time from this influencer. I don't remember her name. An Asian American girl with like 5 million followers. Maybe you know her. I need to.
Is she based in Hong Kong?
No, she's in the US.
Oh, okay.
And she made that reel, like when your extrovert self accepted a party, and when your introvert self shows up to the party, and you're like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes I can be quite social. I actually do, even though I'm an introvert, but I do enjoy... I'm very
social too. I do like introvert.
Yeah.
So people are like...
Yeah. But I can be a bit shy at first, but I do enjoy having a connection with people. Yes. I actually do value that. I enjoy that as well.
Yeah, me too. More than just shallow...
Yeah, small talk. I hate small talk.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
So how's the weather? The food is good.
Yeah, exactly the type of conversations you have at like networking events or stuff.
Yeah, it's always small talks, right? Yeah, it's so frustrating.
And well, I have now like kind of a deep question. So you can take time to think about it if you need. I can keep talking if you need to think. What would you like to be remembered for? I know it's a big question.
It is a big question, but just because it's so big, so I think I'm just going to give a very simple answer. Honestly, I don't think I have really big ambitions. But I do think, I mean, I sort of want people to, I know I would like struggle with this a lot.
I know. Also, I know it's deep. If you want to lay down, it's fine.
Do some meditation. I feel like the work that I have been doing, actually, I just really want to not inspire people, but I want to create a bit of like rapport, you know, like I want to have a conversation with people. I want to just share a bit of my thoughts on a specific topic.
Is it also a message to women and girls?
Not particularly, but but obviously my work is very women focused for sure, because everything that I do probably is around like womanhood. Things that I've been experiencing, or things that I've been like thinking about. And
but there's a lot of also masculine figures in what you do, like so I like that it's not, I mean, when we look at your work, we're not like, oh, girl thing.
Girls only.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because I see men, like I see, like literally everyone. I date men, and I'm going to marry one too. And and we can't exclude men, I mean, they're definitely like, you know, they're like 50% of my life as well.
Yeah, but I like that. I mean, the fact that you kind of include them in your work. I'm not saying that the women who exclude them are bad or whatever, but it's just I think it's good to find like a middle ground.
Yeah, and because I mean, I'm heterosexual, so when I talk about like, you know, sexuality and stuff, and obviously, you know, like men probably would be seen in my work as well. So back to the question. I think I just want to have a bit of conversation with people, and I want people to have an open heart to think about, you know, the topics that I want to, you know, talk about, and all the thoughts that I have. That's it. Nothing too deep.
Yeah, but that's good. And also on Google and everywhere on the web, all of this will outlive us. Like, it will be I don't know where we'll be, but our work, even the podcast, imagine like in 100 years.
Maybe someone would dig it out and be like, hey,
archives.
Like, look at that, like whatever era, like post-COVID era.
They were like, oh, they had mics and laptops at the time, now we have robots or whatever.
Now we don't have to speak.
Oh, imagine that.
Because AI probably does all the work for us already. Imagine
how is it called?
A chat's GD.
No, but like when you can, if we could just share our thoughts without talking, super
mind reader.
I think there's like a scientific name to that. I don't know. Maybe people, if you know, tell us.
Leave us in the comments.
Okay. Then I had also another deep question for you. Well, not so deep, but still. So, do you believe in luck?
Luck, yes, I do.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I think we all need a bit of luck, for sure. Honestly, let's say, I mean, I can't speak for the other people, but when I'm looking back on, you know, my career and stuff, if that person didn't message me to have like a show in London, even though it was just like a very, very tiny mini show that, you know, like probably everyone would forget about it already. But if it never happened, I wouldn't have had my, you know, very first commission. And if that never happened, then I wouldn't even have, you know, like this.
We wouldn't be talking right now.
Probably. And you know, this is could you say that's luck? I think you could, but I think luck only it's so cliche to say that, but like, you know, luck only happens when you're ready, right? At the same time, but we do need luck is like a bit of like lubrication, you know. It kind of it makes things a little bit smoother, and probably, you know, just makes things a bit easier.
I would say it's also very related to work. And maybe there are some things we might take for luck, but maybe it's just we've been working so hard,
maybe,
and then things happen, you know, around us. Like I always think of like we spread energy around us, and I'm not into this energy thing too much.
Spiritual?
No, not
like,
really. But I still think that when you do something out of passion and you really love what you do and you do it well, and you put enough work and effort, 100% of the time. Well, you don't know when. You need to wait. You need to be patient. You know, it's not, as we were saying, it's not now. But this kind of sends like energy or a message in the universe. I don't know, and then some people will hear about you, and then
I agree. I feel like if you genuinely like it or enjoy doing it, and people can feel it. They know that you're not doing it for just money, or doing it for fame, or doing it just because you're, you know, because of your cockiness or whatever.
I agree 100%. And was there, well, whether it's thanks to luck or work, was there anything unexpected that happened in your career and you were like, wow, what's going on? Something good or bad, can be bad as well.
Honestly, I think I'm quite a lucky person. So if you ask me if I believe in luck, absolutely. I think yes, luck does help for sure.
Yeah.
And I think I probably would say, like, you know, having a TEDx talk was really unexpected, just because, again, I'm not really good at speaking. I get quite nervous when I have to speak. So like doing that was like, oh wow, like speaking in front of like over 900 people, you know, was actually quite insane.
How did this happen? Did they contact you? Like,
yeah, they contacted me and then they were like, oh, would you want to have a TEDx talk for us or something? I was like, oh, really? Like TEDx or like or like, you know, a TEDx, you know, like imitation TEDx, whatever. But yeah, it was TEDx.
And what was the topic?
So you could choose your own topics.
Oh, you can choose, okay.
Yeah, so obviously you're going to talk about something that is related to what you do, right?
Yes, yeah.
I'm not going to, you know, talk about car insurance or like finance. But so yeah, I talk about sexualization.
Okay, and how did it go? Did you feel, how did you feel when you were talking? You were like focused that...
When I was on the stage or like before?
Both.
So before, obviously, I wasn't feeling very confident, just because my coach asked me to sort of like film myself every time when I do it, and because they really gave you lots of supports.
Okay.
So that you definitely feel very ready when it was very close to the dates, and so we had our training once a week. And
oh wow, so it's
quite a lot actually. So I don't know how did the other people do it when they had a full-time job, because I was like a freelance artist, so I could literally, you know, like do it.
Like if you work in corporate,
like, and then some of them are like mothers as well, so I don't know, like crazy. And then I have to like look at the, you know, the video, and I'm like, oh, I hate my shoulders, and I hate the way I speak, and why do my eyes, you know, like looking down like that, or like, you know, so I was just really self-conscious, so self-conscious, and the rehearsal was also quite a disaster, because I don't know, like I have to like, you know, present in front of the committees and obviously the speakers too. We had like 8 speakers at that time, including me, and it wasn't like a huge number, so I was like, how can I do it in front of, like, you know, the audience? But in the end I did it,
and you felt like the adrenaline, and after you were like,
after,
so happy you've
I think
done it?
after I was quite emotional, like right after the talk I was quite emotional, because I actually cried off
that's
stage.
a lot.
But it wasn't like like that, but just like
the pressure.
I don't know
down.
what was that. It was like a mixed feeling. It was like, finally it's over, or like, I did it, or I don't know. I think
it's
I was
all
just
the
emotional.
work you've put into it, and the stress, like,
or like just being like so thankful, because my coach Karen Cole was like, you know, like just, you know, behind the curtains. So I don't know, it was like a bit of everything.
Well, these are memorable moments.
So
cool.
That was that. I think just because I was able to deliver a big talk. To me it was big, at least.
Well, congrats. You can be proud.
Now I can say I'm proud.
Well, last question already. So now I'm talking to the business owner that you are. Even if you're an artist, you also run your own business. It's a question I ask every guest. What lessons you've learned you'd like to share with other entrepreneurs, other business owners, or maybe people that are questioning themselves and maybe they're hesitant to start their business. What would you like to tell them?
I think my advice, or like, can I say advice? It does feel a little bit like,
or a lesson you learned and then you share.
I think just try to be as authentic as you can be, because we are so bombarded with lots of information, like videos and stuff, and literally everything has been done or overdone as well, and we tend to be like, oh, this is what people like now, this is trendy, and right now, like, like we should do more reels, we should just do that. But at the same time, I think you should really be more like, you should be very true to yourself and keep asking yourself a question: why would you even start it? Are you just doing it just because you want to have, you just want to be like a so-called entrepreneur? Because entrepreneurship is, again, so trendy right now.
It's like a buzzy word.
Everyone wants, especially millennials or maybe even Gen Z, like everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. But I do believe not everyone can be an entrepreneur.
No. I
not everyone. I'm not saying because you're lesser than people, or like because you don't have the ability, but maybe like being an entrepreneur is not as fancy as it looks, because you have to do a lot of like really hard work, and again, not for people. If you have to be quite lonely sometimes as well, and it can be very if you're not strong enough, especially mentally. And if you get quite like unstable sometimes, then it might not be for you. I don't want to be like like
no,
this.
But I think it's not the easiest path, and it's just you gotta be wired for this. It's more
like you have to have like the right mindset for it. I think, because I think a lot of people just try to make cash, just that's it, like just because everyone loves, I don't know, let's say tissue boxes, I'm just and this is why I'm gonna do it. I saw someone in like Dubai making like tissue boxes, and I'm just gonna copy the idea and then probably just throw some like Chinese elements, and I'm gonna sell it in Hong Kong, and see how it goes. And if you have that kind of mindset, I can guarantee it's not gonna work.
No.
If you just sort of like if you just want to have like an easy, money.
Doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
It's coming back to what we were saying, the energy. And like you do things because it's just the right thing for you, the right thing to do.
Exactly.
But if it's just I want to try that and make quick money, this is not gonna work.
I personally also see not a lot, but like one or two artists that I actually don't quite like, as in like the work, like I have no like negative opinions about that them as a person, but sometimes when I see their work, I'll be like, I could totally tell why they're doing it, just because they want to be, they just want to be a bit like, they just want to get a bit of attention, but you can tell the work itself is actually pretty like soulless, like no meaning. Get it. So be authentic, like that. Actually, this is the first time.
Oh, really?
I thought everyone would say, just be true to yourself.
No, I think, so cool. Well, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, and I think it was very authentic conversation.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.